earn the Paul Harris Fellow recognition with a $1,000 gift to the Rotary Foundation. This award is named for the Rotary founder, Paul Harris, and the funds received from society members help support Rotary's wide variety of humanitarian projects all around the world. A significant portion of those dollars also come back to our district and club to support our own projects. As of now, the Louisville Rotary Club has 210 Paul Harris Fellows in the club, and I'd encourage everyone else to consider joining. It can be done all at once or over time. If you participate in the Every Member Every Year campaign with a contribution of just $100 a year, you will earn the Paul Harris Fellow recognition in 10 years. For those who are already Paul Harris Fellows, new pins with an added stone are awarded for each additional $1,000 donation. Sapphires are added for $2,000 to $6,000 gifts, and rubies for $7,000 to $10,000. So today we have 3 new Paul Harris Fellows and 1 of what we call a multiple Paul Harris Fellow. We have Joyce Seymour, Barry Allen, and Luke Schmidt, who are receiving their Paul Harris pins and certificates. And then we also have Paul Harris +1 for Larry Sloan. And the other thing that Larry has done is Larry has signed up to join what is called the Paul Harris Society. And the Paul Harris Society are individuals in Rotary who commit to give $1,000 a year to the Rotary Foundation. So Larry, we want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so congratulations to all 4 of you. Thank you very much.
I have a certificate for you. I thought I would just introduce him and he could just stay up here. Mike's been a member of our club since 1982 and was president of our club from 2005 to 2006. He is a graduate of the University of Louisville with a BA and MBA and spent 46 years in the quick service restaurant industry with Burger King, Druthers, and he retired as president of the Dairy Queen corporate stores. He serves as chair of the Kentucky Restaurant Association Education Foundation and as a past president of the Kentucky Restaurant Association. He's also a past director of the National Council of Chain Restaurants and director emeritus of the National Restaurant Association. He also serves on the board of the Cedar Lake Residences and has 3 sons, one of which is a member of our club. Where's Mark? There he is. But there is something I wanted to kind of throw your way, and there's a picture I wanted to show. You know, some people say, Greg, you wear really dumb hats sometimes. Well, take a look at this. This isn't me. This is Mike. This is in 1988 in the Brown Hotel. Mike's wearing a diaper. In those days, they had, slates, and they used to dress up a little bit more comically than we do now. But Mike, you actually had that picture, right?
Yes. But I'm the only person that has
the only person, not anymore. We all seen it. So, and I think the incoming president was Charlie Oberst. So, a couple other things you may want to know. He's a voracious reader. He teaches Sunday school, and he has for 30 years consistently. U of L fan, and we're told you're fanatically frugal. That sometimes you might actually have boxes upon boxes of cereal in the garage because they were on sale. I have no idea where we got that information, Mark. So Rotarians, please welcome me in joining our past president, a valued member of our club, our current district governor, Mike Kull.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate your friendship. This is a pretty good crowd for a district governor visit, so I appreciate this.
Fun last Friday?
This is the 52nd of 56 club visits that we've been on since early July. When we started in Western Kentucky, we saw the corn tasseling, and when we were there the last time, it had been harvested. So we went through half the growing cycle of the corn harvest in Western Kentucky. We're right at 7,500 miles. And that's a lot when you think that we only have a district that runs from Frankfort in the east to Hickman in the west. Hickman's on the Mississippi River. How many people have been to Hickman? That's more people than live in Hickman. Uh, Hickman's a unique city. It has the only automobile ferry across the Mississippi River still operating, and it only operates infrequently. And the other bit of trivia that you can put in your trivia book is that Kentucky and Missouri are the only two states in the United States who border each other where you can't get to the other state on a road. If you want to go to Missouri from Kentucky, you've got to go to Illinois or you've got to go to Tennessee and cross a bridge. So that's for your trivia. As we started out to visit these Rotary clubs, and we've met a lot of great Rotarians around the district, I start with two assumptions. And the first assumption is that every community, large and small, is a better place because it's got a Rotary club. You would be amazed at what some Rotary clubs are able to accomplish in very, very small communities. We have a couple of really unique ones. The Cadiz Rotary Club holds a radio auction every year that raises $325,000. The Hopkinsville Rotary Club has a television auction that raises about $350,000 a year. But there's all sorts of other things that are much smaller than that are going on in our district to help people. The second assumption is if there's 34,000 Rotary clubs in the world, no two are alike. They're a little bit like DNA or fingerprints. They can be very close to each other, but they're not the same. I was anxious to hear from Alice, who just returned from the large club conference in Milwaukee, where she only associated with people from other large clubs, which is truly a great event for the president-elect of this club. This year's president of Rotary International is a gentleman named Ravi Ravindran. And Ravi is a native of Sri Lanka. It's an island nation off the southeast coast of India. For about half of us in this room, we remember it as the nation of Ceylon, famous for its tea that's raised there. And President Ravi is a tea merchant in that he only packages tea. But his number one customer is Lipton and just about everybody else in the world who packages tea, so he's got a nice little business going. He's a 40-plus year member of Rotary, yet he's not 65 years of age yet because he started when he was 21 years old as a Rotarian. He's given us the theme for this year's Rotary International of Be a Gift to the World. Each year the president of Rotary International selects a theme, and his theme I think is a good one. It's an easy one to work with if you're a district governor and asked to make remarks on that subject. And the first gift I think of when I think of Rotary is membership. Is Doug Myers with us today? Okay. Doug Myers is one of a unique group of 10 or 12 Rotarians in our district who once upon a time showed up at the door of a Rotary club, knocked on the door and said, "Let me in." Created quite a stir when he showed up here without somebody to bring him into this club, just to visit even. All the rest of us, or most of the rest of us, have been invited into Rotary. Someone did that. It could be a friend, it could be a business associate, it could be a family member. All of these people, and sometimes maybe you even got invited in with just a little bit of a twist of the arm. But after you got here, you really began to enjoy Rotary and what it does in the community. Rotary is stressing three words when it talks about membership in Rotary. The first word is attraction, the second word is engagement, and the last word is retention. Attraction is the new politically correct word for recruitment. They're doing away with recruitment. It's now attraction. And it was explained to me that the idea behind this is when you went out to find your spouse, you went out to attract a spouse, not to recruit a spouse. Or if you did go out to recruit a spouse, never let them know that. And so each one of us in this room has a responsibility to invite someone else into Rotary just as we did. Once these people become members of Rotary, it's very important that they become engaged in Rotary. In a large club like this, it's even easier to fulfill what's a bad statistic, and that is that many people leave Rotary if they don't feel like they're engaged within the first 1 to 2 years in the club. That's why if you're a new member here, someone's going to come and ask you to do something. And the final word is retention. Our club, like all other clubs, needs to retain members. Right today, you know someone who usually you see at a Rotary meeting who's not here. If you don't see them here for a couple of weeks, get on the phone or get on the email and ask them back to Rotary. Don't let them just drift away from Rotary. When we're finished today, I'd like to, and this will get complicated in this club, I'd like to meet up with the 3 people who have been in this club the longest. That's going to be a challenge. That'll be like lining up alphabetically by height. I want to see those 3 people, and I also want to see the 3 newest members of the club. We have small gifts for you, and as I've truth in advertising everywhere else I've been, they're small enough that if you need to leave early, go ahead. The next greatest gift that Rotary has given the world is the Polio Plus Eradication Program. The Polio Plus Eradication Program started in 1985 when Rotary went to the experts and said we would like to try to eliminate polio from the face of the earth, and the experts said you can get that done in 10 years. Well, it's 30 years later, and once again we proved that the experts weren't real accurate with their projections. But during that time, Rotary has taken the number of polio cases in the world from 350,000 cases a year down to, through last Friday, we had 51 cases in the world this year. All of those in Afghanistan and Pakistan, with the majority of them coming out of Pakistan, where the Taliban still controls a small portion of the country and are trying to continue to keep people in the dark ages. But Rotary, the World Health Organization, and other organizations are not giving up until it's finished. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have been one of our biggest partners. By the time this is over, they will have donated $500 to $700 million to go with $1.4 billion that Rotarians have donated, and about $8 billion that governments around the world have donated to this project. In the last 2 years, this club has donated over $4,000, which with the Bill and Melinda Gates money is $12,000. We thank you for that effort. It's helped a lot of children in places that we'll never be polio free. And the last gift that I'd like to talk to you about that Rotary International and you bring to the world is the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation is the charitable arm of Rotary International. It's the organization that you donate money to become a Paul Harris Fellow. The Rotary Foundation is a strong foundation. It receives a 4-star rating from Charity Navigator, which is the people who rate all of the charities. The money that we give as Rotarians and as a club, 50% of it finds its way back here into our district, and 50% of it is used on projects around the world. Sometimes people, I think that maybe the Rotary Foundation is a little bit like U.S. foreign aid, in that all that money just comes out of the United States. I will tell you that last year, the average Rotarian in the United States gave $124 to the foundation. Last year, the per capita from Rotarians in Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and Canada were all greater than $124 per Rotarian. So this is money that these 1.2 million Rotarians around the world are giving all across the world. The money that comes back to our district here is used for district grants. This year we awarded 41 district grants totaling $86,000 to help with local projects. The 3 projects from here in the Rotary Club of Louisville were the Kids Against Hunger program that you're doing, the Field to Fork project with food literacy, and you'll be helping put in a clean water borehole in South Sudan to help people in that part of the world have clean water. Other things that happen with this money in our district include Coats for Kids in Glasgow and Princeton, Bowling Green Club, which is donating Chromebooks for mentored students there. Murray's club project this year is to put a roof over the local community amphitheater. Elizabethtown, in conjunction with other organizations, have helped put in 16 water systems in Guatemala over the last 7 years. Davies County is building a gazebo for intellectually disabled people, and last year the LaGrange and Prospect Goshen clubs helped with another group build a home in Belize for a family in need. Other money, Kurt Alleman in our club, and I should mention that Rick Harned is our grants committee chair for the district, and Rick not only gets to keep these 41 grant applications accurate, but Rick then for the rest of the year has to be sure that all the receipts come in to keep the stewardship level high, and we thank Rick for that effort. Thank you. Kurt Alleman in our club is chair of the district committee that selects Global Grant Scholars. Global Grant Scholars are young people who have finished their 4 years in college. They're going on to get a master's degree in a foreign country in one of the 6 areas of focus that Rotary International promotes to help mankind. 2 years ago, we had a young man from here in Kentucky named Michael Fryer, who got his master's degree at the London School of Economics in International Banking and Development in third world countries. This year we have a young lady from here in Kentucky named Emily Stevenson, who's at the University of Sheffield in England, and she's getting her degree in communicable disease prevention and wants to go on to become a medical doctor and work for the World Health Organization or Doctors Without Borders. And finally, this year, we will award 2 of these scholarships. Each of these scholarships are worth $40,000 to a young person. If you know of anyone, the disclaimer is you can't be a Rotarian's relative, but if you know anyone else that would be interested in this, see Kurt or look on the district website for applications that need to be in by December 15th. And one other thing that your money goes to is what's called global grants. Global grants, the best one I can point to is what Dr. Bob Hilgers of our club is trying to do along with past District Governor Jane Crisp. They're working on a global grant to treat for precancerous lesions in Haiti for cervical cancer for the women of Haiti. These type of grants are money that we put together as a district with another district, such in Haiti, to help people there. When you go off for your district governor training, you're trained along with 535 other people from around the world. All of us are in one place. They speak in 8 different languages, just like the United Nations. Half the people are wearing the little headsets to get it in their native language. And you meet people from all around the world. The first day I met a district governor-elect from the country of Nepal. Visited with him a little while, learned a little bit about the fact that I've got 56 clubs, he's got 86 clubs, every Rotary club in the country of Nepal. And went on to meet a lot of other nice people that week. But 3 months later, when we had the earthquake in Nepal, it brought it home a little more to me because I knew a Rotarian from there. And so our district with some other districts here in what they call the Heart of America are putting together a global grant that will help buy furniture and other necessary items for the schools over there as they're rebuilt. I want to thank our club and you as Rotarians for your continued support of the Rotary Foundation. I also bring thanks from past District Governor Jane Crisp for the great support of the Rotary Foundation last year, especially the annual fund. For the 3rd year in a row, our club has received the Star Club designation for averaging $100 per Rotarian. You can take pride in knowing that your support is helping people all over the world. A byproduct of this giving, as we mentioned earlier, is that 210 of you are Paul Harris Fellows. And I think equally important is that 33 of you are like Larry Sloan today. You're what we call multiple Paul Harris Fellows. You have people that have understood that we need to continue to give because there's still a lot to be done in this world. How many people in this room have ever traveled internationally on a Rotary International project? Got 2 or 3 in the room, and that's about the hands that I see. Maybe 1 out of every 100 Rotarians have done a project overseas. So most of us only know what we see in the Rotarian magazine or we hear from other Rotarians. I've talked with people who've gone on the national immunization days with polio, and you've seen that picture of that child getting those 2 drops of vaccine for polio. What you don't see is later, whenever they finish that, you don't see the parents coming up to that child and thanking that child for what Rotary just did to help that child have a better life. We don't necessarily see a cataract surgery in India that can be done for probably $30 to remove cataracts from someone's eyes. Or we don't see a fresh water well come in a foreign country so that people no longer have to walk 5 miles to get fresh water in each direction. We don't understand that usually when we put in fresh water in a lot of these areas, we also put in toilets, because in many countries, young women cannot continue in school once they reach puberty because of not having public toilets for their monthly periods. So when we do water projects, when we do sanitation projects, when we loan a woman a sewing machine that she buys back from a Rotary Club somewhere so that she can start a business in her community, we don't see these things. But what I want to do is thank you for your continued support to do this around the world. I'd like to leave you with one quote from President Ravi, who writes, "Every one of us has something to give, whoever we are, whatever our place in life. We can give our talent, our knowledge, our abilities, and our effort. We can give our dedication and devotion. Through Rotary, we can take these gifts and make a genuine difference in the lives of others and in our world." So I end by thanking you as Rotarians and encourage you to continue to be a gift to Louisville and to the entire world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to open up the mics to see if anyone has, and now's your chance to talk to our district governor. Does anybody have any questions? I do, first off. Have you got any great stories from visiting around the state?
Well, I think we're still trying to vote the best food, but if you're ever in Madisonville, I would recommend the Country Cupboard. It's an excellent buffet with about 12 kinds of homemade desserts. That's been an interesting thing. I think the other thing we've learned is that Rotary clubs that become a catalyst in their community for projects that are the driving force behind community-wide projects in these communities are some of the most active ones. They're the clubs that are able to identify a need in their community, and they meet that need not just with Rotarians, but by getting other people in the community involved in those projects.
Great.
I've also learned, for everybody in the room, that clubs that are paying $7.50 for lunch are struggling with the same idea as to what are we going to do when it goes to $8. So don't ever think you're in that boat by yourself.
Most of them are during lunch too, right? Most of the Rotary meetings during lunch are there?
We only have 4 evening clubs and 4 breakfast clubs. The other 48 are all lunch clubs, which means it takes a while to get around to them because you can only do 1 lunch club a day.
I would think so. Just FYI too, your board of directors met with Mike before he came to this meeting today, and we reviewed all the projects and all of the activities that our club's doing, and it was a great meeting. So we thank you so much.
I have for you your official star club designation.
Oh, good.
And so no one has to, you can wear it if you want. It's got a great magnet on the back.
I love magnets.
So you can wear that in any way you like to wear that. Okay.
Hey, I got a picture up here. I can wear a star, right?
And this is also the certificate from Rotary International thanking the club for the contribution to the polio effort last
Fantastic.
year.
Great, Mike. Thank you so much. Thanks to Mike Kull, our district governor. Don't forget to check out the board. Before I wrap up the meeting, George Breakmeyer is over there, and he's still taking names for the bell